So basically, what this particular chapter entails is that in math, oftentimes there are, I think I did give you a hint also earlier that there are proofs, extensive proof-related problems which you would get to see in many related chapters. Particularly if you talk about functions, any chapters related to functions, sets, there you would need to reason out certain conditions, and those reasoning out problems would require you to understand like how there are certain nomenclatures, there are certain kind of statements, conditional statements, which they are not very hard to understand, but still it's something you still have to acquire the skill for, so that you can address the problem better. So much of it starts with the way things work out in a language. English as a language has similar usage. Like we use sentences in grammar, and those sentences have implications. The kind of sentences which we use, uh, basically much similar to that. We have, you could say, statements or statements in mathematics, and they have their own particular, you could say, way of writing. They have, it's not as fluid as in language, in English or in any other language, where you have a choice of words here and there. You could, construct sentences in a little bit more flexible manner. But in mathematics, things have to be a little bit more precise. The symbols are there, and conditions have to be set up in a certain way for them to make sense to anyone who sees it. It's for brevity case. It's for precision as well. So much of it is around that. So what I'm trying to tell you is that just like in English we use sentences, and let me know if you cannot hear or if you cannot see, or if my voice goes choppy at times. I can go a
Okay.
little slow. Okay.
Yeah.
So we use sentences for expressing ideas, whatever ideas we may have. And broadly speaking, what we can categorize these sentences as is, one of them can be, you could say, a declarative kind of statement. We declare something
Yeah.
like Mars supports life, or moon is cold, or Saturn has rings. So that's kind of like what we declare something. you know, Ice rings, or I think I could say. So that's more like a declarative statement, right? We are stating something which is known to be true. You know, um, we generally associate that as a declaration. Today is hot. Something like that, or today it's raining heavily. Something of that nature. That would be a declarative statement. Two is, let's say, which we call as imperative. Imperative is basically some kind of a request or a command, and it doesn't shouldn't look like an English class. Okay, I'm going to
Yeah.
come to the mathematical part very soon, but one of them is kind of what we do in math. So I'm just giving you a little bit of piece of this. So like please get me a cup of tea, something like that. That's a request, and you could possibly have a demand kind of a statement also, or a command kind of a statement also. So that's like implied. You want to imply something, imperative. And then you have exclamatory. So what could possibly be an exclamatory, where you exclaim or express a feeling? Feeling is expressed, you know. So much like, how big is this, basket? or something like that. Expressing some kind of feeling. And then you could have, it's not a question mark, how big. Basically, you're exclaiming, it may be that the basket already is big, and then you still are expressing your feeling that really it is very big. How big is this? Something like that. And then you could have an interrogative statement, where you are asking a question already, right? So what's your age? Something like that.
Yeah.
So these are formally, like, broadly speaking, and I'm not an expert in English, so I wouldn't say that this is all you have to English grammar. But these are very, common kind of statement which you, sentences which you very, easily use in language, right? So now coming to what we refer in math as statement. This is now diverging into math. So what we have in language as sentence, we have a statement in math. So this is actually a sentence. We can express it in the form of a sentence, but it is of declarative type. It's not a request. You don't care about a request in mathematics. You're not doing something like, please get me this and that. Neither are you going to express any feeling, or you're not questioning something. We are mostly declaring something to be, which is declarative, which can be either, it can be a truth, like whatever you declare, it doesn't need to be true always. It can be either true or false, but not both. So that's a sentence what we call as in mathematics,
Yeah.
or a statement actually. So example of this could be, a declaration like this could be just a like sentence. Saturn has rings. An example could be, you know, 12 is a multiple of 2. So I've just declared this. And in this case, as you can tell, this is a reality, this is a truth also. So this statement is declarative in nature, and it is a truth. It is true as well. Now, an alternative or a false statement could be 12 is a multiple of 5. It is also a declaration. I just made a declaration. But this may not be a true declaration. This is a false declaration. But as you can tell, any one of these declarations cannot be both. You can't say that this is a multiple of 2 is a true as well as a false statement. It can only be one of them. All right. Now, there is a special type of statement in math which are both true and false at the same time. And just for the sake of knowledge is what I'm going to refer here, because we don't have that in scope, and neither is it easy, or they are not very common also, and what we call them as paradox. Paradox are statements. They actually mathematical statements, or they're used in science a lot as well. And which are which which have conditions which actually can be interpreted in both ways, in both sense. Like you can take them as a true statement also, and you can also take them as a false statement at the same time. And that's why they are a paradox. Like the paradox, I think the dictionary meaning of paradox itself is that both true and false at the same time. And often there are, this is very well known. There are quite a few mathematical paradox known where researchers actually spend a lot of time doing, proving one way or the other, trying to figure out what is the reality of those paradoxes also at the same time.
Okay.
So again, it is a reality, but it is not what we have in scope for us, But it is kind of like nice to know kind of thing that statement generally what we deal with, they would either be true or false, but not both. But there are certain type of statements which could be both true and false, and they are referred to as paradox, and they are not in scope for us. All right.
Okay.
Now we'll dive into more of it, gradually, like what kind of statements, what different kind of statements are, and then there are conditional statements, expressing a situation in the form of a mathematical condition, where one thing could be dependent on others, it could not be dependent on others as well. So of that sort we are going to cover now. So let's see what we have. So we can now at least tell that anything which is declarative is a statement. So anything which is not declarative or something which is assertive, interrogative, or exclamatory or exclamation, that is not a statement for us. We are not going to cover those, right? Now, the example of common statements could be just like simple statements can be, a few examples could be x plus 2, or this could possibly not be a statement because it can be taken, x plus 2 is equals to 9. Do you think it is a statement or it is not a statement?
It is a statement, I think.
It can be taken as a statement, but do you think it is true or false?
Yeah, it would be true. I mean, x can have any value.
X can have any value, then how can we say that it is true? That x plus 2 is equals to 9. How can we say that it is true? But can you say that it is false?
No, it could be both.
It could be both. So we cannot call it as a statement in that case.
Yeah.
So I could make this as a statement by writing it like this.
Yeah.
Because that could be, or I could make it as a statement like this also. This is also a statement, even though it is a false statement.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it needs to be a definite interpretation. It should be declarative in one way or the other. Something. How about 6 has 3 prime factors? Do you think it is a statement? It is a declaration for sure, huh?
Yeah.
But how many factors do you think are there in 6 prime factors? You have 2 and 3.
Yeah.
So this looks like to be a false declarative or false statement, right? So in this case, we do not have a truth prevailing for this particular statement, right? Now we can also have statements which are, you could say, negation of what we have. I could contradict or I could negate what I want to declare. Something like any statement in general. Like sometimes what we write the statement as is there is a common way of expressing them. Like, we use a symbol for them. That P is a statement, representing 6 has maybe 3 prime numbers. So this is how I can write it. Okay. Now, if this is a statement, then, or let's say I want to make it as a true statement, so I can call it as P is a statement which is 6 has 2 prime numbers. Now, the negation of it, and we write it as negation of a statement. Is something which is expressed as a tilde and a statement, whatever you have. So if your statement is this, then by negation of this would be 6 does not have two prime factors.
But this would be a false statement, right?
And we can evaluate. Yeah. So if this is still a statement, this is still a statement, and 6 does not have two prime factor is a false statement. So if this was true, its negation is a false statement. Yeah?
Yeah.
So negation of any statement means like you just start with, a not condition around it. If I were to put some other, if I were to give you some more example, let's say all squares are rectangle. That could be a statement, let's say, and that statement could be written as Q. All squares rectangles. So I could write it negation of Q as not all squares are rectangles, or it could alternatively be written as all squares are not rectangles. And there are multiple ways of writing this also. Or sometimes we could even say that so instead of all squares, I could say that some squares are not rectangles. So we could put a not condition around it also. We could put a not condition around this. So there are multiple ways also. When I say all squares are rectangles, so I'm saying a negation of it could be that not all squares are rectangles. So that's what I have written. And the alternative could be all squares are not rectangles, or I could say that, a contradiction or negation of all is some. Some is when I say all things are possible, the opposite of this could be treated as some values. Some is an opposite. And if you say some squares are, maybe rectangles, the opposite of it could be all squares. Are you with me on this? Like,
Yeah.
we can use opposite as, all for some and some for all as well.
Okay.
So we could use this, as a way of negating, So now what we could basically see is there are ways by which you can express some statement. I can give you some statements, and maybe I can ask you to write what are the negation of those statements. Okay.
Got it.
Let me just give you some examples over here. So if I were to say, let's say 1, you have to write the negation. It would be New Delhi is a city. If you want to write out the negation of it,
Yeah, it would be New Delhi is not a city. Hello?
Yeah.
Were you able to hear me?
Yeah, I was able to. Yeah, New
Okay.
Delhi is not a city. So there are alternate ways to this. Let's say if this is a statement P, then not P. As I told you, there are ways, and I'll tell you there are some other ways of expressing it, and one of them is what you just described. New Delhi is not a city. That's one. Let's say sometimes what we can also write is alternatively, it is not the case, not the case that New Delhi is a city. That means you right up front you just are negating it. You know,
Yeah.
whatever you have in the statement, you write it at the back, but instead you just pre-append it with it is not the case. Or you could say it is false that New Delhi is a city. You know, remaining parts remain the same.
Yeah.
So that's a way of expressing it. So if I say I went to my class yesterday as a second statement, let's say, so what would be what, and this let's say is a statement Q, what could be not Q? This is how you read it, not Q. So anything like, it is not the case that I went to my class yesterday. That could be one.
Yeah.
It is false that I went to my class yesterday. And I did not go to my class yesterday. That could also be written.
Yeah.
And all of them are meaning the same thing, right?
Yeah.
So that's a negation. And we often see these have, mathematical constructs, not a statement is a very common construct in mathematics when we are proving. Now, statements can be basically simple as well as what we call as compound statements. So, so what we saw mostly have one declaration in a statement, right? Either there are not they're not complex statements; they're just very simple statements with
Yeah.
one simple declaration. New Delhi is a city.
Hmm.
I could have multiple declarations in a statement, and they may or may not be related to each other. Even though in languages we do not consider it to be a good practice that you make multiple declarations, they are unrelated. Say for example, say you know my father's name is, let's say Mahendra, and it's going to rain today. So as a sentence in English, I mean, even though it is grammatically correct, but it doesn't really create a very good impression when you write a statement like that,
Yes.
right? Because the two things which are declared in this statement, they're not entirely relevant in the same context. But math doesn't care about that. We can make sentences out of two different declarations which may or may not be related to each other. Okay, and what we call such statements which are made up of two or more, minimum two declarations, or it could be multiple, more than two, is compound statement. We call them as compound statements. So any statement which has two or more declarations or two or more simple statement is what we call as a compound statement. So an example of a compound statement P, let's say, could be I could say that you know uh, 18 is divisible by 3 and 6. Do you see any compounding in this?
Uh,
Hmm?
I think the and.
That and is the compounding. So
Yeah.
basically what that means is I can write this statement into two simple statements. One of them could be 18 is divisible by 3, and maybe another 18 is divisible by 6. So as you could see, and I could have added, comma 6 and 9 also.
Yeah.
So that could have still been a compound statement. Right? So now this is another kind of statement, because oftentimes you'll see in math we are declaring something like this. 18 is divisible by 2, 3, 6, and 9, and so on and so forth. So what that actually stands for is that at the same time this is true. So basically meaning that 18 is divisible by 3, 18 is divisible by 6, 18 is divisible by 9. This is what we are declaring. Whether it is a reality, whether it is a truth or a false, is not what we are judging at this point. But we are just declaring, and that this is a compound statement.
Okay.
All right.
Yep.
Truth and what we call as truth and falsity is a different story. So judging the truthfulness of a statement, or what we call as a falsity of a statement, is a different matter, because a statement is just a declaration. Whether it can be a true or a false is not something you can restrict it, but it cannot be both at the same time. Is all the condition there is to a statement, right?
Yeah.
So that's a compound statement for you. Now, there are types of compound statement which can be formed. It's not that you can just form a simple statement like this, and call it as compound statement. What we have is compounding can happen using what we call as connectives, basic connectives. There has to be a way to create a compound statement. And what do you think are connectives?
Conjunctions.
Yep, just like you have and, you can also use an or.
Yeah.
Yeah. Even there are compound statements like which use if and then. If and then are also connectives which can be used to create compound statements. So what we saw above is a case of an and connective being used to create a compound statement. Do you think you can create some kind of a compound statement using or?
With the same example?
It can be different.
Okay.
And it doesn't need to be a mathematical one. First you could create a simple grammatical one, and then let's come to a mathematical one after that.
Okay. I like to eat oranges or apples.
Apple.
I would like to. Yeah.
I would like to eat apple or orange, or an orange, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
So that could be a or state or connective being used to create a compound statement.
Yeah.
And what could be possibly be a mathematical compound statement using or?
18 can be divided by 3 or 6.
18 can be divided by 3 or a 6, which is true. Yeah, that is a basic connective using or you could say two lines can either be parallel or they can intersect each other.
Yeah.
That could also be a or statement compounded, or connective used to compound a statement also. So these are also what you could say connectives, which are oftentimes, and again, if I were to tell you, these constructs are pretty much like, I don't know if you use any computer programming language, And you may have seen these statements or these directives used in computer languages as well.
Yeah.
Like any experience of that?
Not much.
Not much.
Yeah.
But yeah, so but they do have implications. This reasoning, if I were to tell you the kind of reasoning, truthfulness, and the falsity, uh, compound statement, whether how does a compound statement is treated as a true statement or a false statement,
Hmm.
that all is a very focused area. You can say it is a overlap between mathematical reasoning and even computer programming, language, using any of the languages or software programming languages basically.
Yeah.
So understanding of this actually helps a lot over there as well.
Okay.
All right.
Yeah.
So that's basically and or, and I'll give you questions around this to practice also, so that you can create create this particular scenario. Like you have statements, compound statements. You can break them down into two of them, or you could have two statements, and you could possibly create a compound statement around it.
Okay.
Now coming to the truthfulness, like we should be able to tell, like if a statement is actually true or not. In case of a compound statement, we should be able to tell whether an and statement like this, or a or statement which you said, let's say P 18 is divisible by 3 or 6. Whether this statement is true or not, how do you determine this? And in this case, whether it is true or not, like how do we determine that is also an important area. So the way it works is slightly different for an and versus how it works for an or.
Okay.
And that is what we are going to see now. So I could maybe modify this particular compound statement to illustrate this point, that in an AND statement, let's say if you have maybe if I give you a statement P 18 is divisible by, and I say that maybe 3 and 9. Let's say I just use two basically simple statements here, and which translates into Q 18 is divisible by 3 and R is 18 is divisible by 9. What do you think this statement is? Is it a true statement or a false statement?
Yeah, it's true.
It's true, right? So I can write a T over here.
Yeah.
And this one is also a true statement.
Yeah.
So in case of an AND, what we say is the overall compound statement AND is true when the multiple or the constituent simple statements are all true.
Yeah.
That means if you have two statements which form this compound statement, both of them need to be true in order for that compound statement to be true.
Okay.
Let's take a counter example and prove it. P 18 is, I'm just going to tweak this one so that we can bring home the whole point. So 18 is divisible by 3 and 5. So that translates into Q 18 is divisible by 3 and R as 18 is divisible by 5. These are the two simple statements, and as you can tell, this one is a true and this one is a false.
False. So the entire thing would be false.
entire thing is false, because you cannot expect and say that 18 is divisible by 3 and 5, because it doesn't really make sense, right?
Yeah.
You're saying that it is divisible by both, but one of them is not true. So what we say is, for a compound statement with and as connective, it is true only when all the simple statements are true, individually true, basically, right? So
Yeah.
that's kind of a rule. You can take this as a rule for an and statement.
Okay.
I mean, you mentioned, I think, before that your father works in a bank, and banks run on software. There are accounting software, there are banking software. Everywhere, when you interface in a bank, you have some or the other software related to a customer, related to the bank. It may have a specific function, you know. So a lot of those softwares actually are running on programming languages which use statements which are compound statements. Say for example, I could say that, if my name, exists in the system, and I have an account with the bank. So there are two statements. Like, if my name exists in the system and my bank account is active, then find my balance. I could base an action based on some condition, right? So I could say that, if my name exists in the system and my account, and my account is active, so these are two conditions: banking system and account is active. So one condition is this, and the second condition is this. And only when you see that both of these are true, I want the banking software to perform a certain action, that, okay, look up my balance, like how much money do I still have in my account.
Yeah.
If my name is not there, you can't find my name, and you think my account is not active, there's no point to, show up the balance. Like, I mean, it could be a rule which is established in the software.
Mm.
So understand that the compound statement use is prevalent. Math is also a language in which computer programs are written. So, fundamentally, you are doing math at the end of the day. So basically, whatever we are learning here is it has far and wide usage even in other streams of science. I think physics could be, because there are mathematical proofs involved in physics also. So you could be using this also there. All right.
Yeah.
Now coming to or, we said that and, the way and works in terms of truth and falsity is different than what or works. And let's see what or works, how it works out. Generally, most of the banks, they have common rules. Like, I mean, you would not see that one particular bank, software works doesn't have a check like that. Most of these checks are actually driven by rules and regulations. So pretty much all the banks implement the same thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. So a or statement could be, let's say, you gave an example, 18 is divisible by 6 or 9, So what we know that it is divisible by 6, or we know that it is divisible. But let's take a different statement, because it doesn't really bring out the difference between an and an or in this case. So let's take another example. Say for example, my school. I could take this example. My school will be closed on a Sunday or a rainy day. I have a great school which closes on a rainy day. So, and we actually had a school. Like, oftentimes we would get breaks on rainy days.
Yeah.
Because we didn't have buses. We didn't have buses to take us. It was just rickshaws and cycles. So if it would rain heavily, the school would declare. So we had fun at the expense. So my school will be closed if it is a Sunday on a Sunday or a rainy day. So this is a or statement, as you can tell, and I can make two sub-statements or simple statements like this. My school will be closed on a Sunday. That's one statement, and I could also write it as my school will be closed on a rainy day. And if it is a Sunday and a rainy day, anyway, there is no point.
Yeah.
All right. So these are two simple statements which make up for this compound statement. Now, as you can tell, whether this happens, it is true. I mean, if it is a Sunday, my school is going to be closed, or if it is a rainy day, it's going to be true. So let's say if on a given day, if it is not raining, then and it is a Sunday, then still my school would be closed, right?
Yeah.
And vice versa, if it is not a Sunday but it rains, then also my school would be closed.
Yeah.
So meaning that this statement, compound statement, is going to be true when either of them is true.
Okay.
Right? So the rule in this case is truth is basically it's the compound statement using or is true if one or both, or all, one or all the statements are true. Okay?
Yeah.
Either one of them is true or all of them are true, it would still be true. And when would be false? It would be false that when it is not raining and it is not a Sunday.
Yeah.
Then you can't expect the school to remain closed. Right? So it is false when all of the statements are false. So I think, does this kind of make sense? Do you see the relevance of it? I mean, it does. So I can we haven't still addressed the core concepts of grade 11 math, but it is an introduction, and I'll bring in a few simpler constructs based on what you may have done in the previous grade to bring this concept home from time to time, so that you can get an idea that this is something I could use. It could be useful, and before we actually dive into much more complex topics around this. Okay.
Okay. Yeah.
So let's keep it simple today. I just wanted to discuss this, and I'll give problems around what we've done. You'll be given all of this. Break a sentence into simple one, or create a complex one, or a compound statement. Writing the truth, whether it is true or not. Stuff related to that is something, and even related to negation. So I'll put some questions around this, and that you can try and attempt. And if you have some challenges around it, you can. Even though I don't anticipate much in it, but still, you can bring them on in the next class, and then we'll cover something else. Okay?
All right.
All right. That's it for today. I'll see you in the next one. Yeah.
Yeah. Thank you. Bye.
Yep. Bye.